Greetings, good people. This is Mabu Shakur. I first want to say that it's a pleasure to be able to speak to you at this time. Uh, Last year at this time, I was a confined man myself. So what I have to say, I feel is very relevant to the situation that we are addressing. I hope that you are all by now enjoying Black August. Um, right on to that. I want to send a peace and power out to all the people that are struggling to raise consciousness for our political prisoners. Um, I want to speak to you about, very briefly, the George Jackson University and how I came into the knowledge of the George Jackson University. Um, in 2000, I just turned 21. And at the same time, I found myself um, facing a murder charge. I was a young black male and I was in the streets and I was contributing to genocide. And so ultimately, I was incarcerated. I was 800 miles away from home and facing a murder charge. Like most black families, my family was not wealthy. I could not afford some powerful attorney. And so, like the majority of young black men in America, I was sentenced to prison. And I was sentenced to prison in the Georgia penal system. And so I went to what we call the chain gang. And at that time, I was a very rebellious young brother. Uh, I did not have any true revolutionary knowledge at that time. But I remember by 2001, I discovered my first book. And my first book, I think I still have it. Uh, my first book was actually George Jackson's Soledad Brothers. But it led me to this book as well, Blood in My Eye. These were my first two books that I ever read in confinement. And these two books engulfed me. And they took up so much of my time that I no longer had a desire for idleness. I wanted to think, to grow, to improve. And these books led me to other people like Francis Fanon and uh, Kwame Nkrumah and Patrice Lumumba and Steve Biko, and I began to read about political prisoners like formerly H. Rap Brown, Imam Jamil Al-Amin, um, Mumi Abu Jamal, so many different people. And as time went on, I developed what we would call, consciousness. I became not just a brother confined. I became a conscious black man. And I spent ultimately 13 years in the Georgia chain gangs. And I was blessed to have organizations such as the George Jackson University to raise consciousness, to spread awareness, and to, overall help brothers to different struggles. And so with these struggles, you can draw parallels to your situation, and you can assist other brothers in discovering the parallels around them. So had it not been for organizations such as the George Jackson University, I cannot say that I would be here now filming this video. I cannot even say that I would be alive. So I'm very sincerely grateful to a number of brothers. Um, Brothers such as Abdul Alubala Shakur, one of many brothers in a very powerful think tank in San Quentin Prison in California, who from way over there, all the way over there in the Bay, could reach me through his communiques, teaching me, shining light from his cell of confinement, solitary confinement, where these brothers are locked down 23 hours a day. He taught me. He shared information with me. He introduced me to beautiful, intelligent brothers like Akili Shakur, who continues to do the work, not just from Baltimore, but with brothers and sisters all over. I learned from these type of brothers. My close, dear comrade, Jamal Malik Shakur. This brother's a very intelligent brother who always pushed the line, always encouraged us to study, to grow, and we would debate, and it helped us to really create a true revolutionary mentality, as George Jackson would say, and get out of the criminal mentality. These things are needed, and this is why the George Jackson University is needed. When Detroit read into the prison system, had it not been for literacy and the ability to study, he would never have become El Hajj Malik Shabazz, otherwise known as Malcolm X. So many brothers benefited from just literacy, the power of literacy. Huey P. Newton stated in his book, Revolutionary Suicide, first he started to read. He began to read, and by reading, he began to learn and memorize the California penal codes. And he would carry the book with him everywhere, to the point that the police despised him, and they hated to see him with that book, because he was a black man that overstood the law. So the power of literacy, my words cannot express how important the power of literacy is. And to brothers confined, those brothers with that criminal mentality, but with the heart and the zeal and the potential to be true full-fledged revolutionaries, the George Jackson University is just what they need. So I urge you, brothers, because I'm a living testament, I urge you, brothers and sisters, support this movement. Put everything you have into supporting this movement, to spreading the awareness about this movement, and to help those around you that you know have family and friends that are confined, to make sure that they're receiving the basic human rights and that they get conscious literature to study, to grow. I thank you for your time. Peace and power. I hope you brothers and sisters have a blessed Black August. Uhuru.